the Let's Talk About podcast with me, your host, Moonvi Johnson, and let's get into this episode. Here's a sneak peek into this episode. Another thing that happened for me was I got a really good grade on my English essay. I wanted to redeem some points that I had earned, so I redeemed points for 3 Munchkins. And I was excited. I wasn't really paying attention, and I took my Munchkins, and then I was on my way home when I realized instead of 3 Munchkins, I got 4, an extra Munchkin. Hey y'all, and welcome back to another episode of the Let's Talk About podcast. I'm your host, Moonvi Johnson. If you're new here, and if you're not, welcome back. I'm so glad to have you guys join me for another episode. So today's episode is something that I've been really wanting to talk about, and it's something that I've seen go through Instagram and TikTok, and it's a trending topic, which is the lucky girl syndrome. So I'm excited to talk about that, but I do want to say something before I get into that. So those of you who follow the Instagram for the podcast would know that I posted a story last week, basically saying that an episode wasn't going to come out last week, because this was supposed to come out last week, but something happened in which when I was coming home from school, I was called the N-word by someone on the bus, on the public bus, and there were other words that were said that I'm not going to repeat just because there's no need to, because they were really harmful words. So that is something that I've been dealing with, and I felt very unsafe in that moment, and I would never want anyone to have to go through that experience. It's not a good experience, and I mean, for me, I feel like that was the first time racism directly impacted me. Like, it was like a slap to the face, just because I've never had to deal with racism like that right in front of me. I'm aware that racism exists. We live in a society where racism exists, but it's never impacted me so directly. When I was called that word, it kind of, what's the best way to put this, made me feel degraded, and I don't know, it just made me think about the history of this country, and it kind of just hurt my confidence a lot in a way. I don't know, because over the years, and I've talked about this on my podcast before, but over the years, I've had struggles accepting my identity as a young Black girl and really falling in love with the features that make me me, being my hair and my skin. I've had struggles with really thinking that I'm beautiful as a young Black girl. And I know that some other Black girls can relate to this. And I worked so hard towards really accepting myself and being the best version of me that I can be, and really accepting my natural beauty. But when I was confronted with that word, and someone really thought about me in such a negative way without even getting to know me, it kind of unraveled everything that I had worked towards. Not completely, like I'm okay, I'm fine. I wasn't fine then, but I've collected myself, and I've just been telling myself, you're okay, like that one person does not define you. So yeah, I just wanted to share that experience before we head into today's episode. But just to give a voice to that, and for anyone who's ever dealt with racism like that, and just in any form, it's really unacceptable, and I wish that we didn't have to live in a world that has this as a reality, but we have to live with it. So that's a really depressing thought, actually. Okay, well, on a not so depressing note, today we're talking about the lucky girl syndrome, which is something that I've been wanting to talk about since last week, when I was originally going to post or record this episode, but we're getting to it today. So you're welcome. Basically, if you don't know, the lucky girl syndrome is not an actual disease. It's this trend that's been going around TikTok, and along with the many other trends that are going around TikTok and Instagram. And so basically, in essence, what it is where people are repeating the affirmation, I am so lucky, everything works out for me, or everything I want or desire is already on its way. There are many variations of the statement, basically saying that you are lucky and you are attracting opportunities into your life. Um, and the affirmation is supposed to bring positivity and luck into your life, so that you're blossoming with opportunities and so many good unexpected things that um, come into your life because you believe that you are worthy of receiving all the things that you desire or everything that's coming to you and attracting that energy. Um, and it's basically it's a state of being in which everything happens to work out for your good and where opportunities basically just fall into your lap. It's also a manifestation technique, and by repeating it, you are consistently like bringing in this positive energy and frequency and that positive mindset to the things that you want, basically just elevating your frequency. I feel like I've said that word so many times. Elevating your frequency and becoming a magnet. I think that's the best word to use. Becoming a magnet for good things to come your way. And the secret is to assume and believe strongly about whatever it is that you want before the concrete proof shows up. So, in essence, being delusional. Like, you have to believe it strongly. You can't half-heartedly. It's not even a phrase. I know there's wholeheartedly. I don't know. You can't half believe in this. You have to like really believe and affirm it to yourself that this is going to happen to me. I believe that I'm lucky and good things are always going to happen to me. Um, Now I do want to mention that this concept isn't new, but kind of like TikTok and these social media platforms have made it new to attract like an audience. So manifesting in itself, which is a practice that's been going on for a very long time, has always carried this delusional mindset, believing that what you want is already yours or is on its way to you. This is kind of just another way of getting the message of manifestation out. There's always been sayings like this, but it's kind of it's turned into a trend now. So people know it as a lucky girl syndrome when they are really just manifesting or doing what manifesting the practice of manifesting really is. However, it's not a bad thing that this is a new trend, but I think the more that the message of manifestation or manifesting techniques go out and get spread um, to people who haven't heard about it yet, the better. And I know that my life changed as soon as I got into the practice of manifesting in general before the lucky girl syndrome. And even now with the lucky girl syndrome, I notice a lot of things um, that have happened to me since I've started repeating that phrase to myself. And I feel like I should speak more on my experience with manifesting, but I feel like that's an episode for another day because that's a whole thing. Um, So I'm going to share a little bit about my experience in a week/a week and a half of doing this, of repeating this phrase. And I just want to note that if you don't see the results immediately, don't be discouraged. Don't start doubting the process. Realistically, something is not going to happen right away, but the more that you say it and believe it, and the more that you get this ideology and mindset engraved into your brain, the better, because it's going to start working and you're going to start to see it working for you. So I'm going to share a little bit about like what has been happening for me since I started saying the affirmation. And I'm not gonna lie to you and be like, oh, I just got Beyonce tickets for her, when she's coming to MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. I'm not gonna lie to you because I feel like sometimes we see these like really huge things, but we don't know whether creators are telling the exact truth, um, or if they're just trying to market to an audience to like be like, oh my God, we have to do this because we're gonna get Beyonce tickets too. by the way, I really want Beyonce tickets. I also want SZA tickets, but ever since I started saying the affirmation, a lot of positive things that have been happening to me, or at least I've been recognizing them as positive things that are happening to me, and I feel that sort of luckiness or that essence of luckiness. The first thing that happened was I was scheduled to take my club photo for the yearbook club. So, because every club at my school gets photos in the yearbook. So, for Mannequin, which is my yearbook, that's what we call it, I had prepared, I wore my sweatshirt to school, the one that says our name and like the Mannequin logo. I wore it to school and I was so prepared to take the picture. But then I realized that I missed the picture because during break I was busy. And I was like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe I just missed the picture. Turns out I didn't, in fact, miss the picture, but they rescheduled it for another day, meaning that I still had the opportunity to get in the picture. So I was so grateful that it worked out for me, that I didn't have to miss being in the picture because they rescheduled it. That was one thing, and it might seem small, but to me, like that, to be a part of the yearbook club and not be in the yearbook picture for the club, that's a little, I don't know. Another thing that happened for me was I got a really good grade on my English essay. Um, and mind you, I didn't really work on it until like a day and a half before. So I was a little nervous as to what is my teacher going to think. Like, I really I really put my all in it when I had to do it, but I didn't start it as soon as I had wanted to. But I got it's probably one of my highest grades in English so far. I mean, all my grades have been good, but like this one was the best grade that I've gotten. And I was really content with myself because I was like, wow, I really pulled that off because I did work hard to pull it all together and make it cohesive, but I was a little scared as to what my teacher would think, like, oh, does this seem rushed or things like that. So that was also another thing. And then I went to Dunkin' and I wanted to redeem some points that I had earned. So I redeemed points for 3 Munchkins. And I was like excited. I wasn't really paying attention. And I took my Munchkins and then I was on my way home when I realized instead of 3 Munchkins, I got four, an extra Munchkin. And I know this sounds like, girl, why are you're not lucky. She just happened to put an extra one in the bag. She put an extra one in the bag. That's something I didn't even have to redeem points for. That was an extra Munchkin. And I was like, I'm so lucky. I got an extra Munchkin. I mean, I don't know about you, but I enjoyed that Munchkin. And then another thing that happened was that my mom's friend came over because it was my mom's birthday, but she also brought her daughter, which is my longtime best friend since we were like 3/4. So we had the chance to catch up. Basically, what happened was she came over and it was really nice to see her. And as a gift that I never even asked for, I didn't know was coming to me, um, her mom got me a $15 gift card to Dunkin'. And all that time, I was thinking about how my gift card that I got for Christmas for Dunkin', which was $50, and that was insane. But it was from my mom's friend, and my mom doesn't go to Dunkin'. So she was like, do you want this $50 gift card? And I was like, of course. Um, but I got an additional $15 on a gift card. And I'm like, just when I was thinking about running out of money on my gift card, I get another one. How lucky is that? So these might not seem like monumental things or just, it's not extravagant. And mind you, I've only been repeating this for like a week and a half. So I'm sure if I keep repeating it, more things are going to come my way. I'm just going to attract positivity into my life. I was really happy and I feel like, I don't know, I feel better when I say these things about myself and or say these things, yes, say these things to myself and repeat it over and over. It's like really affirming it to my soul. And I've even made a playlist for the Lucky Girl Syndrome, um, with songs that like Intentional by Travis Green, or just like Magic by Ariana Grande. I feel like everyone knows that one. But if you want, I can share the playlist with you on Spotify. I really enjoy listening to it in the mornings too. Like in the mornings, it just sets the vibe for the day, you know? So I'm definitely will update you on things that happen. I'll post on my story or something. Um, or do like a dump of like just things that happened. So yeah, I feel extremely lucky, and even though I had that little incident last week, I feel lucky because I have people that are around me that support me, and my friends, when I told them about it because I was crying, it was something that really impacted me. Um they bought me a coffee and a donut. Like those are the real friends. Honestly, like I'm just so grateful for them. That was really kind of them to do that for me without even asking. And um I don't know, I just feel like I have really good friends. So yeah. And I know some people call it like privilege, but honestly, if you really believe in the power of manifesting, um, like it's gonna happen for you. I know that ever since I started manifesting, like things have been coming into my life. It might take time, it might not come tomorrow. Like definitely it's not gonna come tomorrow. It could, but you have to give it time. You have to let it, you know, just marinate. But you also have to work towards your goals as well. So like not your goals, but your what you manifest. Like let's say you want to manifest more followers on your Instagram account. You have to put in, like, it's not going to happen overnight. You have to be consistent with what you want to happen in your mind. Like if you're posting consistently, like twice every week, and you're seeing that growth happen, that's because you're putting in work to it. And I also know that there's been a little bit of controversy behind the whole lucky girl syndrome thing. Some people think that um, it's important to take reality into account. And I mean, this is true. When you look at the lucky girl syndrome, most of the people who are talking about it are white, cisgender, thin, skinny girls. Most of them, I'm going to say the majority of the videos that I've seen, they're the ones who are promoting this ideology. And then the controversy is basically that the luck comes from biases and privileges. So there's a little bit of controversy about that. But what I'm mainly pointing to is the positive thinking. Whatever you want to think about as reality, or life is not going to always be perfect sometimes, and I think we need to acknowledge that. And we also need to acknowledge the fact that your identity and who you are can play a role into certain realms. Like there's a topic that I want to save for another day, but it's about basically the difference between white creators and creators of color, and just the different opportunities, how opportunities are distributed, and also just like the lack thereof. So that's an episode I definitely want to talk about, but not today. But yeah, that's just like touching onto the controversy of what's happening. I feel like we can't totally ignore privilege and biases and just things that happen in reality. But I just really like promoting the idea of positive thinking, because the more that you think positively instead of negatively, the more things are going to happen for you that are positive, if that makes sense. Like if you're always thinking negatively, you're not really going to progress to where you want to be. If you're a very pessimistic person and you really just don't see anything happening for you, it's most likely not going to happen for you because you don't believe in the power of you yourself, and just the power of how your energy can affect everything else around you. So I just think, let's not make the positivity toxic. I don't know. I feel like there's always controversies that come up, but I just want to look on the bright side. And I feel like what this is really trying to do, like, it can be hard. Like, if you're going through a difficult time, it can be hard to be like, oh my God, I'm so lucky, because you don't feel lucky at that exact moment. But if you look for the good in every situation, which is like kind of what I'm trying to get to with this, is that like you can train your brain to filter situations for the good. So like last week, I didn't have a positive experience, even though I had been repeating this affirmation to myself. But I think that the good in that experience, even though that was just not a good experience, I feel like to filter out what was good about that experience is that I was able to understand the impact of such a word and really realize the impact that it had on my ancestors, but also really learn how to deal with an experience like that. And, just trying to see the positive in the bad is, it can be hard, but you kind of just have to like, you can't always, but if you just try, it'll just lead to a more positive life. But that being said, we cannot just let privilege slide, because that is an overriding factor that does happen. Um, and you can't really get past the effects of systemic racism or sexism, uh, classism, or any sort of ism. So, yeah, I feel like that was very contradictory what I just said, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to get at. Like the lucky girl syndrome, it's really good for promoting positivity into your life and bringing that good energy in. But at the same time, we should realize, based on like the controversy that has stirred up, that we can't always promote toxic positivity, and there are privileges that exist that can counteract what we're trying to do by promoting a positive mindset. So it's kind of like a back and forth situation, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So that's the end of this episode. I really hope that you enjoyed. I feel like I just rambled on, but I will be back. This is being uploaded tomorrow, February 7th, on a Tuesday. So surprise, surprise, you're getting an extra episode this week, and another episode will be up on Friday as usual. Don't forget to follow the podcast on Instagram and TikTok at let's_talk_about podcast. And you can stay updated with what's going on. I let you know on the little inside details. I have so many exciting things coming up. Also, if you haven't already, you can go check out my YouTube channel where I'm posting my senior year docu-series, which I'm really excited for. So anyways, there's a lot of things coming up. My birthday is coming up, but I almost said February, March 5th. So I'm really excited for that. And yeah, bye guys. I'll talk to you very soon.